Welcome to BizJet TV. Today I've got a super guest with me. I've got George Turkani with us here from GT Express in Chicago. And George has an incredible entrepreneur story of how he moved from Moldova over to the US, became a successful entrepreneur, started flying, and now using his private jet to build his business even further. So George, welcome to BizJet TV.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure. Thanks.
So George, tell us the story of how how old were you when you decided to move to America from Moldova? What was your motivation, and how did things go initially?
Yeah. It's an interesting story. I was a student at university, and they had this program called J1 Work and Travel for summertime, and I went to the embassy. I got the visa, student visa. I came here, and that's how it all started.
So when you landed in America, was it your intention to stay? Did you think of building a business in America, or did that just happen as things moved ahead?
Basically, I had no money to go back to Moldova because I came here and my contract was fake from the start. They gave me a fake contract from Moldova, and I came here with a fake contract. I went to the hotel. I said, "Hello, my name is George. I came to work here." It was a huge high skyscraper, you know. And they said, we don't have you. We don't have you in the system. It's something is wrong. So sorry, but you have to leave." So I just left, and I met Lee, an American guy, and he helped me out.
So when Lee helped you out, what did you start doing work wise when Lee helped you out?
Yeah. So he said I'm gonna, you know, the story is a lot longer, but I remember I was at the computer trying to find some friends, trying to do something. I was 19 years old in a foreign country, you know. And this guy Lee, he kept coming and, "Hey George, how can I help you?" I said, "No, no, I'm okay. I don't need your help," you know, because I was worried. God knows who he is, you know. And then he came again and again, and I thought he's some you know, some bad guy, you know. And then I decided to go with him, and he said, "I'll drop you at my parents' house, and you'll just stay there until you find a job." So yeah, so I went there, and I remember that they had a house on the ground, and I cleaned their house. I cleaned around the house for free, couple of days in a row. And then their parents were so amazed, like, "Oh, George, you're so good helping us out. Thank you so much." They gave me a pickup truck. They gave me a lawnmower, and they said, "You can go around the neighborhood and cut grass, and people will pay you." So that's what I started, and I was making like $20, $40. It was really interesting.
So how did you go from cutting people's lawns to getting into creating GT Express?
I found a job as a lifeguard in Baltimore, so I was saving people from the pools. I did that for 2 months, and then I went to Chicago. I found a friend in Chicago. I came to him, and I was a butcher. I used to cut meat for a couple of months, and then I did construction for 3 months. Then I did delivery for a year until I reached 21. And when I reached 21, I already had my school done, and I got my CDL exactly on my birthday. And I started to work as a truck driver. So I did that for 1 year. I worked as a company driver. Then I made some money and bought my own truck, my own semi truck, and started to work as an owner up, bringing more money. And I did that for a year, and then I had three trucks, and I was driving one, and the other two were driven by two of my drivers, and we're all sitting. We were sitting because the dispatch in the office was really bad. He didn't know his job, so I called the office. I complained. They said, "Hey, if you can do a better job, come in the office and load your trucks," you know. And initially, I was like, "Oh my god, you know, I never did this before," and And I went to the office, I started doing that, and I realized that I'm actually good at it. And then, like the snowball effect, three trucks bought the fourth, four trucks bought the fifth, and I was not spending money on luxury stuff. I just kept buying trucks. I remember I bought my first 17 trucks cash, and I went to the dealer. I asked them for a loan, and I was like 23 years old or 24, and they laughed and they said, "No, we cannot give you a loan." I asked like I asked like I don't know. I think I asked like 30 grand, and they said no. They laughed. Now I can go and get 10 million, 50 million, no problem.
So how many trucks do you have now? The GT Express has got big.
Yeah, so now we got over 200 trucks. We got over 600 trailers. We run 48 states all over US. And we do open deck, oversized, overweights, like these big, huge loads. It's an interesting industry.
So let me ask you then, because talking about trucks, Elon Musk delivered his first electric truck last week. What's your view on the electric truck?
Oh my God, I'm gonna buy one of those and just drive it to work back at home, back and.
Yeah, why not? So then, at a certain point in your life, you decided you were going to learn to fly. How did that come? Is that something you always wanted to do as a kid, or is it something that suddenly you came up with the idea about learning to fly? Tell us about your story as a pilot.
Trucking industry, transportation industry is a very stressful industry. Lots of problems, lots of claims, lots of accidents. And it's not easy. It's very, very stressful. Uh, and I was actively looking for a passion, for a hobby, and I didn't have one before. Like I used to say like, oh, I like riding bicycle, oh, I like, but I didn't really like them. And then when I started to fly, I realized that this is my real passion. This is my real hobby. I really like doing that. And I started to do more and more and more. I started to do more training. I started to spend more time with my instructor. And it paid off. I would never thought that I would become a pilot. And now look where I am. I passed the North Atlantic single pilot by myself. That's really good results.
So you started flying what, single engine propeller, and then you just worked your you got multi-engine instrument rating, and then you got your commercial pilot's license. I understand. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm a very driven person. I do remember I told I told someone that, hey, I'm gonna I'm gonna buy a jet and I'm gonna fly the jet, and he laughed and said, "Oh, you don't even have a private pilot license." And in my head, I was like, okay, just watch me. And and I just kept thinking like, I have a dream, I have a dream, I have a dream. I want to get this done. I want to get this done. And yeah, that's how I started.
So obviously this started as a hobby because you're saying the business you're in is very stressful. You needed something to relieve the pressure of business, and so you started flying. You found this almost like a therapy that made you feel good, and then you went out and you bought your Phenom 100, built by Embraer, and now you're using the jet to build your business. So tell those that watch BizJet TV how you use your jet to build your business, and how has your business grown since you've had the jet?
We got this truck terminal in Chicago area, and then we have one in Arkansas. Uh, we have another place in Minneapolis, in Minnesota, and then we have one in Las Vegas, Nevada. All these places, I bought them for very good deals, and basically, it's a stop for our semi trucks for maintenance, for to call the drivers out. Maybe they have to pick up some equipment. It's just a stop for drivers. And the more of these stops you have, the easier it is to run the logistics of a company. And right now, I just, if I have to go to Arkansas, I just take the plane, go to Arkansas. If I want to go to Minneapolis, I go to Minneapolis. If I want to go to Vegas, I go to Vegas. And it's really easy because before my friends used to say, "Hey George, what are you doing?" When they call me, "Hey George, what are you doing?" Now I say, "Hey George, what are you?" Because they know I can be here, I can be there, like I can be anywhere, anytime.
Now, I should imagine that you took Lee and his family for a flight in your jet.
I didn't do it yet, and that's a very good idea. I had Lee in my home here in Chicago, and he was very impressed. I gave him a tour of a company. No, we have around 300 people. It's a big, nice company. And he was impressed. He said, "George, come on, I helped you out 12 years ago, and now look where you are." you know. But I think it's a good idea. I should do it.
So now you've got the jet and you're using it to build your business. Do you fly on your own? Do you have another pilot that flies with you? Do you carry executives with you? I mean, do you go there and back the same day? Tell us a bit more about the detail of how you use the jet.
I bought my plane in August 2021, and I hired a pilot. Phenom is a single jet pilot. I got my license, and when I started to fly it, now the plane is flown more by me. And usually, how it worked, like let's say if we have to go to Arkansas for, let's say, we had to do the inventory. So I would just take my parts guy. I would take another guy who wants to another manager who wants to see the place, and three, four of us would stay there 3 hours. Then we would come back. So usually that's how it works. And
Yeah,
and
so,
I
so you're not staying in hotels then. You're just going out in the morning.
No, no, I
Seeing
don't like to stay in hotels. I don't like to stay overnight anywhere.
Walmart do the same thing. They try and reduce the number of hotel nights that their people do, and so they have their fleet of almost 30 private jets, and they're going out every day, flying executives around, and sometimes visiting more than one city. Do you just do one city per day, or do you sometimes do two in one day?
Last week, we did like four stops. So we went to Ohio, then we went to Pennsylvania, then we went back to Ohio, and then came to Chicago.
Oh wow, yeah. So you're using it effectively, yeah.
And then a week, actually the same week, we went to Texas, then another stop in Texas, then San Antonio, and then back to Chicago.
All in one day.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. I mean, for your people to not have to stay overnight somewhere, it's better for their family life and even for your family life if you're just out. It's like you've gone to the office. Instead of going to the office, you're flying your jet to one of your depots and having your meetings and then flying back. It's a very effective way of using your airplane, which is great, and which is why the private jet is a business tool. That's really it. Now, a bit about now moving away from the jet and going back to your success as an entrepreneur. What lessons have you learned along the way that have helped you to get to where you are today? Where you've now got you came to America, 12 years ago with no money almost, and you started working as a gardener, and here you are now, 12 years later, with your own company with 200 trucks and your own private jet. So, what were the key lessons that you learned as you went from where you were 12 years ago to where you are today?
Yeah, yeah, it's a very good question. Because when I started, I had no experience, I had no knowledge, and I believe the answer would be discipline, consistency, and just lots of training. And it doesn't matter in what industry you're in, like trucking, aviation, whatever. If you keep training, if you keep develop your brain, develop your knowledge, gain more experience, then eventually you'll make it. And maybe not from the first time, maybe not from the second time, but eventually you will make it.
So, when you say learning, so what are you someone that reads a lot of books? Where do you get your learning from? Is it books? Is it podcasts? Is it seminars? University courses? Tell us a bit about that.
Some people read books, some people listen to them. I would say that you should try both, and if one of them doesn't work, you should do the other. It doesn't mean that you have to stay all day long and read books. If you don't like them, at least listen to them. Or if you don't like reading books, Go and do, like in aviation, go and do ground training with your instructor one on one. He's gonna write on the table, and you will just keep the information in your mind. So you should try everything, whichever works for you. It's not that you are forced to stay and read books, or like whatever works best for you. Just keep doing it.
So, what books influenced you to success?
Yeah, of course, Elon Musk. I got like seven of his books. I read all of them. Uh, yeah, and it's really inspirational what he has done, because you know it's
It's similar
it's
to
been
you, isn't he? He moved to America as an immigrant, and now look
at
where he is.
17. Yeah, it's really inspirational.
Any particular difficulties that you had along the way that you had to overcome?
you know but that's the society we live in. A lot of people would try to discourage you, and they don't really mean it. They don't really mean to discourage you, but that's how they are set up, telling you that, oh no, that's too complicated, don't even try, because you're gonna lose your energy, and it's not worth it. Just don't stress yourself. And that's the biggest mistake, the worst advice you can give someone. Hey, if you see the guy has a dream, just let him dream. Let him dream, because you never know who he can what he can achieve. Don't shut him down.
So, on your business, now that you're using your jet to build your business, how is the business changing or has changed since you've been using the jet compared to before when you weren't traveling as much or you were traveling with the airlines?
Lucky me, our industry was very productive in the last 12 months. We had to transport a lot of things. N- Not enough trucks, not enough drivers, and we're able to make more money from transportation, and we just collected. I'm sorry. So we just collected all of this cash, and it's been a very good year for us. But me being a pilot, I I'm just a free man. I'm just a free man. Like I would wake up in the morning, and if I have to go to Arkansas, I would just drive to the airport, 40 minutes. I would take the plane out, and I would say less than an hour, I would be in the air from my home. Um, and I would be back like 3 p.m., 4 p.m. I would be back home. It's really really amazing. And then if I have 3 or 4 guys with me, so let's say we go to Arkansas, the plane tickets are now expensive. It's like for example on this trip, I have to pay like 500 to 700. So 4 people, that's like 2,500. For 2,500, I can have a full tank of fuel, and it's really close. It's not like when somebody says, "Oh, it's private jet, it's expensive." Well, yeah, but not a big difference.
Yeah, and also I think your people. I mean, imagine they get home in the evening and they sit down at the table with their kids. Yeah, I went with the boss's private jet. That just fires everybody up. And motivates them to do a better job, which I think is really really important. And a lot of people, they always look at the spreadsheet of the private jet. But yes, the costs of running the jet, as you said, $2,500 almost fills it up with full tank of gas, and off you go. But the advantage is you can land at a smaller airport, you can land closer to your meeting, you're taking your people on a private jet.
Directly, yes, it's more expensive. Indirectly, it's not. I'll give you an example. Like I went to a dealer in Ohio, and I flew my jet. We had to talk about me buying more semi trucks. So we went there, and I said on the phone, I told him, "Hey, can you please, like we were negotiating on the price? Can you please put the price down? Can you please give me 5 grand discount?" And he said, "George, I cannot. I'm sorry, I cannot. My boss is not allowing me." I'm like, "Hey, let me talk to your boss. I'm gonna fly. I'm gonna be tomorrow in Ohio, okay?" So we landed there, and they knew that we're coming on this plane. So the boss and him, they met us. We got in the car, and the boss says, "Oh, so who is the pilot?" And I said, "I'm the pilot." He says, "Oh, you are the pilot? Wow!" And we started to talk more and more. Like the conversation got very excited. So he said, "Oh, my uncle was a pilot too," and we started to talk, and then we sat at the table and we started to negotiate the prices. And I wanted to ask him like, hey, can you give me 5 grand less per truck? You know, on 20 truck, it's a big amount, you know. And he says, "Hey George, man, we got connected so well, but I'm gonna give you 7,500, not 5 grand. I really enjoy you, and I want to do more business with you. I'm gonna give you 7,500." I'm like, "Oh my god, I didn't even have to say anything, you know? Like that's so cool, you know?"
Yeah, because you see, the thing is, not only is it a benefit you flying there with your own jet, but you fly it yourself. And that, I think, also for you mentally, having to train to be a pilot, having to keep doing training to maintain your proficiency and everything, and that just sharpens your mind. When you can fly a jet and you can think ahead at that speed, it helps you in all the rest of your life as well. And I think people are impressed. Oh, he's a jet pilot. He has his own jet. He flies it himself. Wow, this is a cool guy. So that's really really interesting, and thank you for sharing that story because that's uh, that's something that other people have experienced as well. A friend of mine has a Honda Jet, and he's in the real estate business in New York, and he has similar experience to what you just told us, of that, of people thinking, "Oh, you fly the jet too?" Yeah, good, George. In closing, if anybody is watching this and they're a business person, and what advice would you give them as far as buying a private jet? Should they wait? Should they go right away? How should they go about it?
Of course, the money is a problem, so you have to put your math together and see if it makes sense. But if you really love aviation, if you enjoy flying, then your dream should be about aviation. You dream about buying a plane. It doesn't have to be today. It doesn't have to be in a month. Just keep dreaming about this. Keep dreaming, and you never know when the stars align and you buy your plane. Yes, it comes with a lot of at the beginning a lot of unfamiliar things. The process it's a little complicated, but eventually you make it. You understand how to manage it. You understand how to fly it, and it just becomes a habit, becomes something normal. So just dream big. Just don't listen to these people that say, "Oh no, don't do it. It's not for you." Why some people like they know better your personality. You know your personality. So just go for it. Don't wait. You know.
So why did you choose the Phenom 100 and not one of the other single pilot jets that are out there? What made you make that choice instead of a Citation CJ4 or a PC-24? Or
Yeah, don't get me wrong. CJ is a great airplane. It's got good performance. It's a very good. But this was my first jet, and I wanted to have something cool, something nice. And the Phenom looks a little nicer on the ramp than the CJ. And I looked at that. But CJ is it's got a better performance actually.
yeah, no,
Um,
good airplanes. I mean, Cessna build. I mean, my first jet I flew was a Cessna Citation. In fact, I took my commercial pilot's exam in a Citation.
It's not a big problem because I can upgrade to a Phenom 300 or a CJ3 for any time. You know, it's not a big problem. I just want to enjoy this a little bit, and most likely I'm going to upgrade to something nicer.
Yeah, great, great. So, George, thank you very much for being on BizJet TV, and I'll put the link below to your company if anybody needs any trucks to ship their goods. Reach out to George and his team. I'm sure they can help. Thank you for being on BizJet TV, and those of you that haven't subscribed, subscribe to BizJet TV. We're here to keep you going here and talking about private aviation. And thank you everybody for watching. Thank you, George, for being on BizJet TV, and we'll see you all on the next one.